Welcome back to Cover 2 Sports Talk Television. I'm Ryan Wagner, your host. With me, as always, Nate Green, Matt Hallbrook. We want to remind you, you can join us on Facebook. We have a group up there. You can check out pictures, do all kinds of good stuff. It's Cover 2 Sports Talk Radio. If you search that on Facebook, you'll find our group. It's open to join, so feel free. And also, send us some emails. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you think of the radio program as well. We are at cover2sports@hotmail.com. So make sure you email us, send us all kinds of good stuff. Right now, I'm going to give you an Orioles update heading into the new season.
Here's Ryan.
Here's me. Well, opening day is going to be Monday, and I bet you the Orioles wish they had about 2 months more. It's not going well down in Florida. At least they're coming up north. They're going to play a couple of games in Washington before the season kicks off officially at Camden Yards on Monday at 4:05. Yesterday, in the last game in Florida, well, more of the same. The Orioles blew an 8-run lead. That's right. They were up by 8 after 4 innings, and Adam Eaton couldn't hold it together. He gave up 5 runs, and then an inning later, Jamie Walker came in and gave up 3 more. The Orioles ended up losing 9-8 in the 9th inning on a last-second hit and run scored. So this is more the same and what you can expect, unfortunately, from this Orioles rotation throughout the season. It's kind of a patchwork rotation. They're throwing a bunch of guys together that probably on any other rotation in the league wouldn't even be making the team. So you've got Adam Eaton and Alfredo Simon and guys like that. We'll see what happens. But I want the people out there in Baltimore to know that this is not going to be the best season in Orioles history. Be prepared for it. If they make it around 500, that's a win, folks. Okay, that's a good season if we get anywhere near that. Also, a little bit of news from the Orioles. They traded Hayden Penn, the oft-injured and just unlucky, about the unluckiest person you'll ever want to meet. The pitcher for the Orioles that was expected to be the next big thing in Baltimore. He came up as a youngster at age 20, pitched well for the Orioles, and went down and got hit with bats and got appendicitis and all kinds of good stuff. They traded him to the Marlins for a backup infielder by the name of Robert Andino. Andino is going to back up Cesar Torres at short. He's also going to spell Brian Roberts at second, and he provides some insurance for his Torres, who only played 130 games last year. They needed somebody that could play shortstop. They weren't finding that within the organization, so they went ahead and made a move. The problem with that is Andino is out of minor league options, so he's going to be with the team the whole year, and that prevents the Orioles from going with a 13-man pitching staff, which is what they originally wanted to do. They're going to stay with 12. You've got the 5 starters and then a 7-man bullpen, but that means the starters are going to have to go a lot longer into the game than they're probably going to. So it's going to be rough part, especially this week with the Yankees coming in. We're going to hope for the best, and I'll be one of those people hoping for the best. But it's going to be a rough stretch, so just stay with it, folks. Let's open it up for discussion, guys. The Orioles. It's going to be rough.
Oh, God. What do I say about the Orioles that hasn't been said about the Detroit Lions? The Orioles, my home team, I've grown up with the Orioles, loving the Orioles, but they've just lost their edge. I don't know what to say. Ever since the days of the loss of Cal Ripken, we just can't seem to get it together.
Oh, it was long before that.
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying it just seems to keep on adding on. Now our pitching, it just seems to go downhill. Rich Hill gets injured. Adam Eaton not doing so well. Might even be a prospect for the starting the rotation. Now Hayden, with the loss of Hayden Penn, what are we going to do now? I'm not sure.
I don't think that was much of a loss. Yeah, I don't think that's much of a loss. They had to get rid of this guy. You know what? The rotation is bad. It's going to be bad this year. There's no two ways to say that. But help is on the way. And I think that that's what Orioles fans really need to key in on.
I think we need another Sidney Ponson back on.
Yeah, right. No, that's fine. Thank you. I'm good with that. But Nate, how do these Oriole fans stay positive? You know, help is on the way. You've got Matt Wieters that'll be up early in the season. The lineup looks good. That's something that you know you don't want to overlook. The lineup from 1 to 9 is going to be as good as anybody in baseball.
Have you ever read the story?
They're definitely going to be a competitor in the lineup.
Hallbrook, have you ever read the story of Job in the Bible?
Yes, I have.
All Orioles fans are going to need to read that story because they're going to need patience.
The patience of Job.
They're going to need the patience of Job.
We're going to need a lot of patience.
They're going to need patience if they even want to, if they want to have faith in this team in the future.
I have as much faith in the Orioles as anybody. I know they're heading in the right direction. I know they've made moves that are putting them in a position to compete, maybe not this year, but in the coming years. The only trouble is this rotation would not make some AAA teams.
Yeah.
No.
So while they're waiting for this young talent to arrive, they didn't do a very good job of putting together something that would at least be competitive this year.
Speaking of Hayden Penn, I think that's funny. You said it wouldn't even make a AAA rotation. Hayden Penn was shuffled around through all of the teams to see if anybody wanted him.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing is that he's traded to the Marlins. Who did the Orioles play yesterday?
The Marlins.
So I'm pretty sure Andino and Penn just walked across the field and met up with each other and said, okay, here's my uniform. I'll take yours. Let's go sit on the other bench. The Orioles lineup, from 1 to 3 starting out the season, Brian Roberts, Adam Jones, Nick Markakis. That's speed, power, average, stolen bases, on-base percentage, walks. They're as patient a 1-2-3 as there is in the league right now.
But do you think they're going to try to make up for their pitching rotation? Like, hey, look at our first 3, but don't look at the pitching rotation.
Well, Nate and I have been saying this all year, the last couple of weeks. This year at Camden Yards, there's going to be a lot of 7-8 games, 10-9,
Exactly.
13-12.
Very close games. Very close games.
High
a lot of
scoring,
runs are going to be scored for the Orioles, but they're going to give up a lot of runs too.
Yeah.
So it could be hit or miss for the season. They could be very close to 500. They could be really bad this year.
Well, I tell you what, if the games at Oriole Park start getting really ugly, which they very may well, go ahead down and watch a game at Bowie. Or go to Norfolk and watch a game. Because I'm telling you something, the talent that the Orioles have in the AA and AAA system,
that's the future.
That's the future of this team. And there is so much talent, not just in the pitching, but also some of those position players. Shortstops like Blake Davis, first baseman, Justin Turner had a great camp this year. You've got just tons of talent at the position. And the pitching with Brad Burgesson, Brian Mattis, Chris Tillman, Jake Arrieta, there is help on the way.
And the other thing, too, I don't know if you take everything Peter Angelos says seriously, but he also said that if wherever he sees fit, he's going to make moves for the Orioles in the future to get big-name guys. So if he doesn't mind getting those big-name guys in Baltimore, added with the prospects that are going to continue to get better over the years, you might be seeing something.
Well, Nate, here's a question for you. A couple of years ago, it was Adam Lowen, Hayden Penn, Daniel Cabrera, those guys.
You thought that was the future.
What makes this time different from that time?
It's really not a lot to judge on that. I mean, you can't really blame the Orioles because that's where you start. If you want to build a great baseball team, you start with the pitching.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
If they see the trend that other AL East teams, we've talked about how good the young Rays squad is in Boston and in New York. They've really tried to revamp their pitching squads. The Orioles have no choice but to have faith in their pitchers, these young pitchers. So it's really a toss-up.
Well, at the very least, it should be a lot of fun watching these teams develop. Guys like Adam Jones, Brian Roberts, Nick Markakis, they're the core of that offense. And if the pitching staff can get anything close to that, as far as building a young core and building around 3 or 4 guys,
you might be seeing something.
That's
we
the
might
dream.
see
That's
a
the
good
dream.
Oriole team.
You might be seeing something.
So it's, you know what? I've said this before. I'll say it again. It might be a lot like Atlanta was back in the early '90s when they brought up John Smoltz, Tom Glavine, and Greg Maddux all at the same time and went on to win 14 consecutive division championships. Yeah. Well, I want you to stay tuned. We're going to take another break. Come back for No Huddle Offense. It's a new feature here on Cover 2 Sports Talk Television. It's going to be wild, crazy. We're not sure what we're going to say, and I'm sure you'll have fun watching it. Join us right after this.